Guys ready? Phone on silent?
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
that's the only thing.
I don't even have a phone.
Put it on silent.
I don't even know where it's at.
It's fine, don't worry about it.
It is on silent.
Huh?
I think it is on silent.
No worries. Guys ready?
No.
About to, like, cut my nose off.
I don't even know what we're doing.
Neither do I. That's the cool thing. Like everyone always asks me for the podcast. Like, what are you gonna ask? I'm like, I don't know. Like I literally do not know. Like the only thing I ever asked is like, or at least in the rodeo one is like the trajectory, like how they got into rodeo. And then after that, just kind of like conversations just flow. That's all a podcast is. It's just a recorded conversation.
Yeah.
So same thing. I'll just play it by ear right now. But I've gotten kind of good at it. So.
Okay. Making us nervous.
No.
Yeah, right? No pressure. I was hearing audio, now I don't.
You don't hear me?
Mm-mm.
You don't hear us?
I can hear you.
Oh, now I can.
Now you can? Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Let me see. Is it just
Oh, I think it's loose. There we go.
Good?
Yeah, good.
How about you?
I'm good.
Just tilt this up a little bit towards you. All right, let's go. Welcome to the first episode of. Actually, I haven't decided what I'm gonna call it. I think I'm gonna call it Somos Entrepreneurs, because that's basically what the podcast is going to be about. My name is Augustine, and I own Somos Marketing. A little background about me is I've been in marketing for about 15, 16 years now. I used to be in the legal field, and then my fourth day of the last law firm I worked at, the owner of the law firm asked me to take over the marketing. He's like, "You're creative, figure it out." And I didn't know anything about marketing really, aside from like what I studied in college. And then I found out that it was my passion. I had another side project at the time with Mexican rodeo that I've been doing since I was I've been around here since I was 2 years old. And then it just kind of worked out together, and since then I've been in marketing. And this will be my first year in business on my own, and it's been fun. And the entrepreneur journey is definitely lots of fun, a lot of ups and downs, which we're going to get into.
Welcome.
So, today as guests, I have some new clients, the Bollins. Introduce yourself, Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Stefania Bollin.
And I'm Paul Bollin.
So, as I always start out in my other podcast that I have about Mexican rodeo, we always start out talking about like the background. So, tell us, Stefania, about your background as far as your career, and then how you got into entrepreneurship. I mean, obviously, Paul, chime in whenever necessary, whenever you want.
Yeah.
But let's start with you, Stefania.
Yeah, for sure. So Stefania, background. I started going to college right after high school with really like no end goal. It was just kind of like the thing you do after high school. I knew I wanted to do something. I really wanted to be a news anchor. That was like my dream as a little girl. And I was working at like Pound Express, I was working at Forever 21. I'm the oldest of 5 girls, and so when I hit that like 16-year mark, my parents were kind of like, gotta work, it was a lot for my dad. And so I kind of started working from an early age, and my first job was at Pound Express, and then I started working at Forever 21, so I balanced both jobs out. And then when I turned 18, I got into T-Mobile, and then at T-Mobile, it's sales, so commission, hourly, and I did that, and that's where I met Paul 6 months after working there. Crazy story, which I know we can probably get into, but met him, and at T-Mobile, I ended up being at T-Mobile a total of 11 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I got to go up the rankings from sales associate all the way up into store manager. I ran a pretty high volume store in South Orange County. And after I got pregnant with my firstborn, Paul Jr., we decided it wasn't going to work out the retail life anymore. And Paul, at that point, he's going to get more into detail about it, was already chasing entrepreneurship. He had already quit T-Mobile. And so I decided to jump boat and take a leap of faith and join him. And here we are now. Yeah.
How many years?
Yeah.
As a couple?
Well, I mean, so from when you decided to jump ship from T-Mobile to present day.
Oh man, that was in 2021.
Yeah, so 3 years
3
now.
years for me,
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. Paul, tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so geez, where do I start? Yeah, kind of similar story. Started working kind of young, or not even working, hustling, as you would call it. Just trying to find a way to make ends meet. Um, you know, Sophomore, junior, senior year, I was living with just my mom, and I had to find ways to kind of, generate some extra income to help out. So my first job, I guess, was at a car wash. I was 15. I would work it for the most part. I started in the summer, and then at like 16, or at 16, I started working just weekends. I'd be there from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and I'd make like $40 for the day, Saturday and Sunday. $80 for the weekend, but I'd take those $80 and I'd go buy a jersey or something, and then I would flip that jersey from, I'd buy 2 jerseys for $100, $50 each, and then I would sell one jersey for $100, so that I'd get my jersey for free. So that's kind of how things started when I was 15. Car wash, just trying to find ways to make money. And then my first job was at Disneyland. So I graduated in June 14, took one day off, and then I started June 16, and I've been working ever since. I was a dishwasher at Disneyland, worked at a restaurant, started literally at the bottom, just wanted to get my feet wet. Worked a lot of overtime, sometimes slept in my car, worked 6 days, 7 days, 12-hour shifts, 14-hour shifts, just, anything to stay busy. On top of whatever else I was doing, finding ways to make income legally, right? Legally. Just, started from there. Super shy growing up. I'm the middle child, and my older sister, she pretty much did everything for me, like school projects, or just, was my voice. I couldn't order my food. I couldn't call customer care. I couldn't do any of those things. And here I am in the workforce, and I decided that I was going to leave the Disneyland because it just wasn't working out. And I went into cell phones, not knowing, couldn't speak to anyone, couldn't do anything, didn't know anything about communication or whatnot. And I took took the leap, and I got into cell phones. I did that for indirect, not even corporate, for almost a little over a year. And they were kind of, I was selling and I was hitting my goals, but to them, there was other reasons. So I wasn't getting paid. Long story short, then I ended up in corporate. Same story as Estefania. We started off part-time, worked our way up all the way to store manager. I ended up opening up a brand new store as a store manager, and took that store, a brand new store, in like 8 months to a high volume store, which is the fastest brand new store has gone to high volume in T-Mobile. I think probably to this date. So super. You might want to, but I don't know. I think that record stands. We're super successful, ran a store. And then, this was started in 2009. This was back in 2015 when I opened the store. And in 2018, I was to the point where I was doing real estate kind of part-time. I started in real estate in 2013, late 2013. And then, so I was doing real estate part-time 14, 15, 16, 17. And then 17, I started a trucking business that I was doing also while I was at T-Mobile, selling real estate and operating a trucking business.
You're crazy like me.
Yeah. And then I was just to the point where I wasn't giving T-Mobile all my focus, and I didn't feel like it was right that I was halfway there or a third there or whatever, And, the pay was great. Everything was awesome. Amazing people. Like, we still keep in touch with a lot of friends. We've made a lot of friends, through there. And it just was time that I was like, I'm just stretched too thin. My time is, I don't have enough time in the day to manage all this. So then I was like, hey, I'm going to quit. And, with her support and with the way business was at the time, it was okay to make that jump. Obviously super scary leaving a 6-figure job with benefits, great PTO and things like that. But I just knew that, it wasn't for me. And the reason why is because in summer of 17, I actually injured my foot while on vacation, and I had to take some time off from work. And during those 2 to 3 months that I was off of work, I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. Like, I need the rest of my life to be like this. So it's like, what do I got to do, or what do I need to do so that I can do it, so I can make this the rest of my life? So that was in 16. So in 17 is when I started the business for the trucking. And then kind of just all while still doing real estate. And I left T-Mobile in March of 2018, coming up on, 7 years now. So I've been 6.5 years of just straight entrepreneurship, in the trenches, and just, trying to survive day by day, year by year. And yeah, just been doing that ever since we started the real estate company back in 2020. Went independent with that, and we've just been, head down and just trying to focus on growing.
It's so funny you guys mentioned T-Mobile, because when I was at Yale University, I was a freshman. I was definitely that nerdy kid. I was always been into phones and technology. So I would when they would come out with new phones, I'd be like going through all the settings and just playing with it and just figuring it out. And I would go to Radio Shack, because we had one literally on campus.
Radio Shack.
And I would continuously buy new phones. And I remember the man, she's like, you just got that one phone 2 weeks ago. I'm like, I already figured it out. And this new phone's got all this. And he's like, how do you know this? I'm like, I'm just into it.
Yeah.
And then he one day I helped a customer. I guess he was in the back or something. And I just helped the customer. Oh, you should get this phone instead. And he just kind of watched me. And I sold 2 phones from him. He's
Yeah.
like, do you want to do this part time? And I'm like, when I don't have class, yeah. He's like, yeah. Just whenever you want. Just come in and I'll pay you cash. And I'm like,
What?
okay.
No
so
way.
I just started doing that. It was probably illegal.
Yeah. Yeah, no one needs to know that.
That was probably, now that I think about it, that might have been illegal. That was 20 years ago. So but yeah, that's how I kind of started, but I didn't realize it. And to go even further back, as a kid, I never liked candy, but I liked trick-or-treating. I love trick-or-treating. And my mom still has a picture of it. Maybe I'll put it up. One year, I think I was 8 or 10 years old. I trick-or-treated like crazy for 2 days. At least my neighborhood, we had Friday, Saturday type of thing. And then I went back and I organized all the candy, put them into different dishes, and waited till Monday, put out a little table, and just sold all the candy.
What?
So you literally flipped candy.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I totally forgot about that until a couple of months ago. I was talking to my mom about it, and somehow it came up. She's like, do you remember you used to sell candy? And I was like, what?
Dang.
And then she told me a story, and then I was like, oh. And I started having all these flashbacks. I still remember the table, and
How you set it up.
I found the same table and the little plastic dishes.
Dang, that's so cool.
So that's how when I realized, oh, I guess I don't want to work for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to work for anybody else. But it's funny you mention that, because about 2 years ago, so the whole Mexican road thing is a big part of my life, and it takes a lot of time. It's a whole lifestyle. Just dealing with horses, your dad has horses, so.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was at a friend's ranch. This older gentleman who's got a chain of loncheras, Marisco food trucks. And it was on Tuesday, at 11. I don't remember why. I think it was during the pandemic. And I went over there I don't remember what reason. And I just remember you have 5 food trucks. Shouldn't you be at work? It's no, I've been doing it for 15 years. The business owner has to run it.
Yeah.
There you go.
And he kind of taught me that lesson, and I was like, I want that. That's when I had my aha moment. I was like, I want that lifestyle. I don't mind working 60 hours a week, but I want to be able to control my time. I think it's what Mark Cuban said. I'd rather work 80 hours for myself with making 50,000, as opposed to working 40 hours and making 100,000. It's the whole notion of being able to control your time and being independent. I've always had that mentality. So hence this.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, look at you, right? You're now taking on clients, and you're doing podcasts, and you're just figuring it out, right?
Which this idea just came out of nowhere. I think a week ago when we talked, I was like, we should probably do a podcast so I can get content out of it, and it's just natural flow.
There you go. Yeah, that's awesome.
So then, so that was your aha moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
As far as okay, when you figured out that you wanted to just kind of manage your time, is that what it was?
Yeah, just being here and just enjoying the time and just not on the grind.
Yeah, I would literally, I was very, at T-Mobile, I was very by the book. I was that manager, right? And so I would call him during my lunch. Mind, I sometimes went in at 8 a.m. I had to be in South Orange County by 8 a.m. and I'd call him on my lunch at like noon. And I'm like, hey, what are you doing? He's at home just chilling on the couch. He's like, oh, I just woke up. Or like,
I'm
I
at
call
the
him like, what are you
gym.
doing? He's like, oh, I'm in Vegas. And I'm like, what? He's like, I'll be home for dinner. You're fine. Like, and then I was like, okay, like, yeah.
Yeah, that was 2019. 2019, I was in Vegas quite a bit. Just I had a buddy. We would go turnaround trip, make a couple $100 a day, and that was kind of like my hustle. And yeah, I spent a lot of time just chilling.
What was your like aha moment? Was that when you had that kind of conversation with him, or what was it? Where you're just like, I'm done with this corporate life.
I think for me it was more. It was definitely when I had my baby. So for me, it was. I loved my job. Like we said, like T-Mobile was great. Like I loved everything that I learned there. I didn't go to college, but I learned so much business acumen through T-Mobile. I learned how to lead a team, how to hire people, how to interview people. Like it was great all the way around. But once I had my baby, I just realized like I want to spend my time. I want to be a mom. Like this is important to me. My time with my son is important, and that's when I had my aha moment to say like, all right, like I'm willing to take this leap with you. It's scary because I mean, even though he left T-Mobile, I still had a steady income job, and so
It was nice to have one steady and like one roller coaster.
Yeah, because we can balance each other out. But when it was just like, okay, like we're really doing this, like I'm really gonna quit, it was like, all right, like it's for real this time. And that's I think what just having my son with me, and I was like, I can't go back. Like I can't go back to that retail life. Like retail hours are insane. During the holidays, you're working morning to night sometimes, especially being manager. So yeah.
Yeah, and that was what 2021.
21.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely scary. I think so. What happened with me is I got laid off. I was in the wine industry, and I got laid off, and I actually didn't care. Like I wasn't upset because I was already working from home because of the pandemic. And during the pandemic, I got 2 raises and 2 promotions, and the CEO and the owner of the company's FaceTime me one day like, we're impressed. Your boss has told us like how many times you stepped up. She's called you at midnight. You get up and you work. Like we're gonna give you a raise and promotion, blah blah. And then they were like try to get me to come back, and I was like, I don't want to come back. And like one night I'm like, why would I drive an hour 15 to go sit at a computer? My office is next to customer service. All the girls from customer service come and like want to chit chat. I'm just like, and we have open door policy, and I closed the door one time and they got like mad at me. Like my boss was like, you can't leave. I'm like, well, they keep coming in here to talk to me, so I talk to them because I have work to do. Like I'm not sitting around,
Yeah.
And when I got that FaceTime, I'm just like, I don't like. I already proved my like loyalty and desire to work. Like I don't think I need anybody, and it's crazy because back then I could get up at 7, still be able to start work, or even 8 and start at 9, right?
Yeah.
And now that I work for myself, I get up at 4 in the morning.
That's crazy to talk about that too.
But I don't mind. Like I'm happy.
Yeah, because it doesn't feel like work.
Sometimes, but it's like I'll get frustrated about some things, but then I look at it, and like after I figure it out, it's like, oh, that was cool.
Yeah.
Like I just learned something that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I think that's also, at least personally, I think that a lot of entrepreneurs have that. Like have that desire to like learn and to continuously like challenge yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm reading Dan Martell's Buy Back Your Time right now, and he talks about that like people or kids who grow up in like chaotic environments or have kind of a chaotic lifestyle as children, like you develop certain skills that just eventually kind of become natural, but you really don't know like how good those skill sets are until you really put to the test.
Yeah. It's literally sink or swim
Mhm.
kind of thing.
Yeah, you just learn to adapt and kind of just, you've taken so much that it's nothing sometimes. And, you just find a way to just look at the positive or a different perspective. And I think that's definitely comes in handy.
What has been probably the hardest part about being an entrepreneur for you, Paul?
Man.
What a question.
I know, right? I'd say maybe managing time.
Yes.
Right?
I literally was thinking that, and I was like, if he doesn't say it, I'm going to say it for him.
Yeah, I would say managing time.
Let's go into detail about it.
Okay. Yeah, like I need to be better about managing my time. Having some type of set schedule or having some type of routine. And I think I do, but I'm not. I can be consistent, but then.
It's a
But
discipline. discipline.
It's the
part.
discipline, yeah. I think
It's like-
for me, like I can go a month, 2 months being consistent, and then, fall off for a week or two, and then it's like, oh shit, like damn. Now I'm on month 2 of like not really being disciplined or organized, and so I think that's definitely the hardest part for me is time management.
And it's so easy to just like not do anything.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's so
isn't it?
easy to like as an entrepreneur to
I-
just be like, oh,
I'll do it
yeah,
tomorrow.
Go to the beach today. Like, who
Yeah.
cares, But then, I mean, a paycheck needs to come in. Like, there's still bills. Like, you need to have. So I think that's how we balance each other out. I'm a little bit better at time management, and so I'm like, every day I write out a to-do list. Every day we have a calendar that we fill out every month, and I'm like, okay, let's look at the calendar for the month. What needs to get accomplished this month? And so I feel like that's where we kind of.
I think the year-over-year growth has definitely been good.
Yeah.
Back in like maybe 20, 21, 22, oh fuck, it was like a free-for-all. Like just, no plan. Whatever got up that day was like, okay, I got to do this and this and this, but like there was no plan. And now I think 24, most of 24, she's pretty much been on board and really just keeping us like organized. Yeah, definitely helps.
Do you think it's harder now or easier because of this? Like, because this is a tool, but it's also a huge
It's a
threat.
distraction. It's
Like,
a distraction.
I just recently deactivated my personal Instagram. 'Cause I don't want to be bugged by it.
That's like one of the things she's like, delete Instagram today, or like delete this, and just it's definitely a distraction.
Tell them delete Instagram off the phone, or sometimes I'll just like delete it off, like not the. I just delete the app. You can
Yeah.
re-download and log back in. But like I'm like, you have 4 tasks to complete today. Like the app is off your phone already, and like he needs to know like.
I get distracted very easily.
Very.
So like
Sometimes.
I'm doing this, and then 1 minute I'm thinking about this, and like my head just spins, and I'm just like
I'm the same way.
I'm like a
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
yeah,
So
like
checklists are a big thing for me. Like I have to have them.
yeah.
Like it's so. I mean, I can speak on Paul, right? Because I literally live with him. But like, I can be having one conversation, be in the middle of a sentence. We could be talking about a certain client, and then like the next sentence, he's like, "Hey, so like, what if we build 3 units on our property?" And I'm like,
You're
"What
like,
are
me
you
too.
talking about?"
Or like, what about last week? Like, hey, what about a restaurant? Or
Yeah, he was like, "Hey, so I hear the restaurant business is really good," and I'm like, "What?"
That's one of the worst
She-
industries, bro.
she's like, oh, we just talked about our plan last week, how we're gonna do X, Y, Z,
There's
and
goals already set for the year.
Like,
What do you mean you
we're-
want to open up
for
a
the year,
restaurant?
for, like,
He's
the next-
Yeah, I heard seafood's really good. I'm like, you don't even like seafood. Like, you hate the smell of seafood.
So I think you have the same thing that I do, where it's like I've learned just this year. I figured out that I have a passion for starting things. Like it's exciting, it's fun. But now that book's like teaching me, like, okay, you gotta start. If you are gonna have that personality, you gotta learn how to really outsource. Like that is, and it's hard as an entrepreneur to like let go of tiny little things.
yeah, for sure. That's
Yeah.
one thing that I've been struggling with, is I try to control or do most of the things, and it's like I can't, like, so I have to be able to delegate, or just not be okay with not executing that task. And yeah, for sure, it's definitely challenging.
Is it hard for you to like let go of tasks?
Yes.
Yeah. Why?
Oh, like, I mean, my own tasks?
Yeah, like work stuff.
I guess not.
Define work stuff.
Yeah, I guess not. I guess for me, it's a little bit easier.
Do you think it's because of how you were trained in Team Bollin, especially since you built and led teams?
Yeah, I understand the value of delegating a little bit more, I guess, than you do.
I think the only reason I'm gonna be okay at it is because I hate dealing with cameras. So I was like the first thing I'm gonna outsource because I can't stand it. I'm good at editing. I'm good at doing everything in the production. I'm good at it. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
But I've gotten good at it. But it's just like I'd rather be the creative guy, like to tell the editor, hey, I want this, make this happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've learned a lot of editors aren't as creative as I thought they were supposed to be. I used to kind of think they were, or maybe I just haven't met the right editors. I don't know.
Maybe.
No, I think you just probably have that, like, that attention, that you have what you want in your mind.
Yeah.
And people don't see it sometimes. I don't know. I think just everyone has that creative perspective,
Yeah.
or a different perspective at least.
So let's talk about real estate, because I know that that's something that every wealthy person is, they practice that industry. How did you guys get involved in the real estate? That's something that I definitely want to get into, and I've been studying it for about 2 years now. But I am definitely interested in learning people's like stories related to real estate.
Yeah. So so when I was like 15, 16, I had a coach, a baseball coach that back in my parents divorced when I was 14, and I had my dad left the country for some time, and then so I tried to stay playing baseball. Mom was a single mom, and I had a coach that I had grew up with, who kind of like took me on, and would pay for like my tournaments, or like buy me a glove if I needed a glove. And when my parents divorced, I moved from like West Covina area to Compton area.
No, you're
Good. And so he would pick me up and drop me off. And sometime during these car rides, he would tell me, he was a real estate broker, and he had his own company. He had a real estate company. He had a mortgage company. I'd go to his house. He had a nice house, pool, brand new BMW. Took me to Vegas. Like, doors were automatic close, brand new 7 Series. Like, I was like, man, this is pretty awesome. And so he would tell me, hey, son, get your real estate license, son. Get your real estate license, son. And if you refer anyone, I'll give you like $1,000 and da-da-da. And I'm like, I would just listen. I was like 15, 16 years old on the way. Like, oh, okay. All right. Like, dude, who am I going to recommend you to? I'm poor as fuck. Like,
I'm 15.
yeah, and like my parents don't even own a home. Like, but whatever. I would just sit there and listen. So one thing is, like, I've always just kind of like listened, and I've always observed, and I've always just kind of saw how things would, I always just observed. So that kind of always stuck with me. And then, like I had mentioned before, like I was super shy. Like I was super, super duper shy. I couldn't communicate. And then I got into the wireless, and I started seeing some success in wireless, at an early age. And then from there, I got some confidence through wireless, like being able to talk, had to learn Spanish, like not learn it, but like relearn it and speak it actually, at a job, because I just kind of grew up talking to my grandparents' Spanish, which was broken. So that challenged me, and, that gave me some confidence that, okay, like, man, I'm selling phones. And I knew I was selling jerseys and memory cards and like shoes and stuff in high school. So then, and I started seeing success in cell phones. I was like, well, if I can sell phones, I can sell houses. So then I just remembered kind of what my coach told me. So I think I was 23, and I went and I got my real estate license. And then we bought our first house in 2012. I got licensed in 2014. I knew when we bought the first house, after that, I was like, I know I'm gonna want to buy more houses. And why am I gonna give the commission to someone else when I can keep the commission myself and represent, myself? So that's kind of how we started getting into real estate slowly. 2012, we bought our house. 2013, I got licensed, sold my first home in 2014, and then just been selling real estate ever since. But yeah, that's really kind of just the segue, or the route we took into real estate. And, just kind of from there, we just started building little by little.
So activists, we didn't touch on this with podcast, but tell us what exactly you guys do right now, the business that you guys own.
Yeah, so we have TBT Realty, and so TBT Realty is real estate, and then we also do have a mortgage that we're starting up as well. Because Paul does have his MLO license, and so he has that hung with another company, but we're working on a little project with that. But so he can represent both. We can both represent both. So he can do the mortgage side, and then I can do real estate. So with TBT Realty, it's real estate. We help clients buy or sell their homes.
Yeah.
Or invest in real estate.
We're basically a one-stop shop. So, we take work with a lender, and, work with this person and get pre-approved, and then, work with your realtor. So you're just working with one person. And so we're able to do real estate and mortgage. We're able to show houses and provide, what the payment is going to be, or, just answer any mortgage questions and real estate questions all in one.
So if you were to get a client that that's number bottom. Let's say use me for example. So I would literally be able to go through the whole process with you guys as opposed to going from point A to point B,
Yep.
etc.
Yep.
Exactly.
Or like having questions and then us being like, oh, that's a question for your broker, for your lender, or oh, that's a question for your realtor. You know, it's just you're literally just dealing with one person or our team.
Has that been, do you think, a huge benefit for you guys as business owner, or is it complicated of wearing so many hats?
It can be, but for the most part, I think the benefit comes to our clients because you know, they get the benefit of only dealing with one person. One, two, whenever we're helping them on the real estate side, getting their offer accepted, and we let the other agents know like, hey, we're actually doing the financing as well. They actually like that because they're like, okay, cool. Like they're actually they're involved from A to Z. We give good communication, transparency, and you know, I think that definitely helps. That benefits our clients the most because we're able to get their offers accepted. We're able to give good service, and just keep it all with one direct communication between clients and us.
I think you were going to add something.
I'm actually just gonna ask. Is it
Okay.
picking
Yeah,
you
yeah,
up?
yeah, yeah, it's fine. Yeah,
Is
go.
it picking
Yeah,
you up?
no, a little bit, but if you want to go check, go ahead, check, it's fine.
Yeah,
I
I can
can
just
edit,
shoot her a
yeah.
text, sorry.
That's cool. About podcast, I can edit.
You can cut. Okay.
Sorry, I was
Yeah.
like,
No, there's one rodeo podcast we had. This one guy threw beef at another for like 40 minutes, and I just said, like, ugh, I have to cut all this crap out. There's no way I can post any of this.
Wow.
let me put
Yeah, no worries.
you show on for him. So,
Oh, it's a shit show up there.
It's all good. That's cool. I like that because I still haven't bought a house yet. And actually, the money I had saved, I dumped into all this crap.
Oh. Hey, it's gonna pay dividends. Hope.
Yeah, I don't know. I have this like theory in life, like that there's two types of people when they die. Like, let's say they both have like the same illness and they're like in a hospital bed. Like both people are gonna cry. One's gonna cry because they like regret not trying, and the other's gonna cry and laugh out like, yeah, I fucked up, but that was fun.
Yeah.
And at least I'll never have the like
Regret or yeah, the what if.
that regret. Like I don't want to live with that ever. Like I was telling like my guy friends like when I like would hit on like really hard, I was like, oh, fuck my car. I'm like, who gives a shit? Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? It's a numbers game. Who cares? I've already been told no once. Like the rest
What's
don't matter.
another-
The
yeah.
first one's the one that hurts. The rest of them, whatever.
Oh man.
So I've kind of just I'm like got that perspective, but I don't know.
That's good. That's good that
he's not gonna go down here.
he's not.
No, that's fine. It's really fun. That's what you want.
No, he's like sleepy, but he
Oh.
bites it around this time and only I can put him down.
Okay.
Do you want to cut for like 10 minutes?
Yeah, we
Do you guys want to do a podcast for yourself?
don't mind.
Hi, Chiquito.
Whatever you want. It doesn't-
You want me to try to put him down? No, he's with you
No.
now. He's gonna want to go with you.
It's whatever you want.
Sorry, it's
No, no, it's cool. It's whatever you want.
You
No.
know, this time he.
No, it's cool.
Buddy.
Don't feel bad, honestly. It's fun.
Okay, you just do it.
I mean, yeah, I might have to.
That's it.
Say
Special guest.
Hey, hello, friend.
Oh, no.
Alright, let me try and
All
put
right.
him down and if I
Okay,
can
yeah.
come back. then-
No, no worries.
Okay.
I don't know, honestly.
So, I think a part of being an entrepreneur is being able to, like Stefani said, take care of the kids. She walked away for a little bit, but no, let's talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
So the car is kind of like the big eye opener. What was like the one like materialistic thing? I was like, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur because I want that capital, that freedom.
Like that I recognize from
Yeah.
him. Yeah, I mean the car, I mean the house. I think just overall the lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, the lifestyle. Just like I wasn't his kid, and yet he was still, providing or like, helping out, and I just thought that like that really went a long way for me. Just still being able to play ball or still being able to attend some of these tournaments, and him being able to cover that all while still, doing whatever he had to do. So I think, I'm forever grateful for that. But definitely just, I think overall the lifestyle, Obviously the freedom that he had, and yeah, just I would say that was kind of what hit home.
So in the purchasing of a home, because
Mm-hmm.
obviously I want to be able to not just target entrepreneurs and listeners, young entrepreneurs, but I realized a couple months ago that most of my clients are in the real estate industry. So I'm like, I'm just gonna lean into that.
Mhm.
I want it to be part of my plan anyways.
Yeah.
But so what would you say are like some tips to other entrepreneurs that want to get into the real estate industry? Like what you've learned in the last couple of years?
Just keep an open mind when in real estate. There's no like get rich quick, or there's no like I'm gonna come into the industry and be successful right away. I think it's definitely it takes a lot of hard work, takes a lot of consistency, discipline as well. So I'd just say, keep an open mind. Don't focus so much on like the results right away. Just focus on, doing the work, putting in the work. There's no like secret sauce. You got to put in the work. And you're going to learn through experience. You're not going to learn everything right away. You're not going to learn whatever they teach you on the test. It's literally just through experience, through trial and error. And also maybe having a good mentor. I unfortunately, my kind of biggest thing is I try to figure things out myself, and I try to like not ask for help or try not to ask for guidance or whatever. And I just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna figure it out. And sometimes that's not the best way. It's like, get a mentor, eliminate the 10 years that it took me to figure this out when I could have just did it in 3. So I would say that's kind of like the biggest thing, is just get yourself a good mentor.
I'm the same way. Like I've actually asked too, and it didn't lead to anything. So I'm just kind of I have that person like I'll just figure it out on my own. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the podcast, everything I've done. Like I moved out when I was 17.
Oh, nice.
So cooking, like I've always just figured things out. Most stuff in life. Like it's just my personality. But you're right. Like I just haven't found the person. But it is impressive, like how much, like what I've heard from friends who have them, it's like, whoa, you learned all that in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, definitely. I would say, yeah, it definitely comes in handy. I've never had a real one, or like a one that I can say, oh yeah, like I learned all this from. I've had like a few people in my life that I kind of just take tidbits from. But I do that with everything. Everything I just observe and how they operate, what they think, how do they do things, and just kind of, all right, cool. Oh, I saw how they did this, or I saw, I understand their thought process, and then just try to implement that myself. But yeah, definitely to your point, like a mentor is definitely can speed up the process and help you eliminate those hurdles, or that time.
Do you think that's like an ego thing for us Hispanics? The whole like being independent. It's something not much. It's more of just like being a provider. I think it's more. At least I think that mentality.
Yeah, I think it has a little bit to do with it. I think for me, it's just more of like I said, I've never really been the like communicate person, or like outgoing, or very, I'm more of like the introvert, just kind of, I just like to be in my bubble, or like just like to be doing my thing. I don't really try to go outside of that. So I think for me, it's just more of like, I'm just like here in my shell. Like I don't want to, reach out, or I don't want to like, so for me, that's kind of what my ideal is.
Yeah, after the photo shoot we did, I would have never expected that, because you did so good with the photo shoot.
Well, man.
You're just a natural with it.
Well, I'm yeah, thanks, man. But no, that's definitely not me. It's who I've learned I have to be. Like when I put it's all about being uncomfortable, right? Like that's where the growth comes. So I've learned to just get uncomfortable. I constantly challenge myself to be uncomfortable, like doing this podcast right now. I wasn't, I don't think about it. I kind of just like, all right, I'm just going to like, when the time comes, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to do the podcast, and I'm going to just get uncomfortable. But I don't know. I don't know if I thrive, or I don't know what it is, but I just constantly challenge myself to be uncomfortable. And I think that's what just keeps me going.
Do you think anything has to do with that, with the background in sports? Because I know that for me, that's huge, especially like the mental toughness part. I mean, you start riding horses at 2 years old. I mean, I've been thrown off
Man,
off, so-
2 years old, that's
Yeah, when I-
freaking
like,
awesome.
Yeah, so I would ride it like with my mom or my dad, but like I was actually learning how to move the reins.
Oh, no
So, like,
way.
before I was like moving horses on my own.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
impressive, man. That's cool.
And the crazy thing is my family doesn't come from it. Like I'm the first one,
First-
only one that does it. I'm just crazy like that. I guess.
Man, that's even better. Like, that's so cool that you literally was like, oh, I'm gonna like learn the horses and
I just fell in love with them, but and it's funny because like I have a lot of like friends, acquaintances that like I just see how they are mentally. I'm just like, jeez, like it's hard. It gets to some point where it's like I can't be around certain people. Where it's like the whole like, oh, I can't. I'm like, did you try?
yeah,
I can't be around that
definitely.
because I'm like, I don't care. I'll figure it out. Like I'm gonna screw up 1,000 times. Like that's fine, but I'll figure it out eventually.
I think, yeah, for sure. You brought up, I think, a great point with the whole like sports. I did play sports growing up, and it definitely taught me like discipline or like just, the grit and just work hard. And I like to win. I'm super competitive, and like I don't know. I like to win. Like, I'm a winner, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes that I got to do to win. Obviously, I pride myself on doing things the right way and try to not take shortcuts. I don't believe in like get rich quick. I don't believe in, getting what do they call that? Instant gratification. I'm very good at the being able to delay my gratification. There's things that I've been trying to accomplish for a long time, and sometimes they take longer, and that's okay. Yeah, where were we? Yeah.
Subject. I think that's a big problem in our society, and I wonder how much of it has to do with social media. I'm sure it's got a big influence, but like the whole like instant gratification, like I don't understand. Like I see friends that barely make ends meet, and they're like $100,000 trucks. Like, for what, dude? Like,
Why?
Like, you already have one. Like, why do you need another one? Like,
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think sometimes you're a product of your environment. I think I learned that, growing up where, just sometimes you just see what's around you or what's around you, and that's kind of all you know until you really step out and kind of see things from a different lens and go around some people that maybe have a different perspective. I think, like I said, I just observe and I just kind of just look at what people are doing and see what I want to do and what I don't want to do. Look at, certain examples and I don't want to do that, or I don't want to do this. Oh, I want to do what they're doing. So what are they doing? I'm gonna pay attention to that. So that's kind of just been my mentality. I think definitely sports. And then just, I didn't grow up coming from a lot. Like I grew up, quite tough and never had really a stable space or stable home, and that kind of just motivated me and fueled me, and just like, I never want to live like that, or I never want to put my kids, or whatever it did, like it just made me who I am today. And I honestly wouldn't change anything. Like it literally created who I am. And it's just perspective. I think life is all about perspective and how you look at it, and what you do to adapt. Like you can't be a victim. You definitely have to adapt and just find a way to move forward, however that is.
Yeah, I think all that has, especially in the real estate game, I think that's, you definitely have to have that mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you think that's helped you in your real estate career?
I mean, my real estate career has been, man, it's at one point, I even had a friend, good friend at the time, was like, hey, like maybe you should reconsider. Like, I don't think this is for you. And, I was like, shit, like maybe you're right. Like 2019, 2020 was probably the year was like, this is either going to make or break me. Because I had left T-Mobile in 2018. I had been doing it for, 4 years at that time. I had probably sold, I never zeroed out. I would always sell at least 1 or 2 homes a year. And I was part-time during those times. But I wouldn't communicate to people. I wouldn't communicate. I wouldn't put myself out there. And I had a lot of opportunities to like grow or like, be successful. And I was like, oh. So, and I was with this person for majority of 2019, and, they were like, hey, like, I don't think this is for you. Like, you're not good at it, pretty much. I was like, you know, and I was like, shit, I'm like, maybe they're right, maybe he's right. And then I'm not a quitter. Like, I am not a quitter, and that's one thing that I'm resilient in whatever I do. And 2020, was the year that I didn't kill it, but I did fairly well. And that's when I gained the confidence, and I was like, all right, like, I think I can do this. And that was the first year I started originating loans and also selling real estate. So that April of 2020 is when I did my first deal of representing, the buyer, doing their loan and selling the real estate.
So I was going to ask you next, was like, which came first? Like, because remember it was like a week ago when I asked you guys like for the titles, 'cause I was figuring out your content pillars and all that marketing strategy.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you back then, and I was like, yeah, we'll do a podcast. How's it coming? Like, so what? Like, tell me like exactly like step by step, like how you started and how you kept growing in real estate.
Yeah. So in 2013, I got licensed as a real estate agent.
Okay.
I did that part time, and then in 2018, when I quit March of 2018. In April of 2018, as soon as I quit, I went and I took the mortgage course. Finished the course, and then I got licensed in September of 2018, got my license. And then I went to a company and I was like, hey, I want to also do loans with you. And he was like, all right, well, if you want to do loans, you need to go get your broker's license. So I was like, my broker's license? He's like, yeah, if you want to do both. And I was like, all right, cool. So then that was 2018, September. By May 2019, I already had my broker's license.
So for anyone who's watching, listening, that doesn't know the difference, like what is the biggest difference between a real estate broker and a real estate agent?
I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just a broker basically allows you to be able to hang your license under multiple companies. So you can be working with one company, two companies, three companies, as many companies as you.
Selling the actual.
Well, selling real estate, however you sell the deal or put the deal under whatever company you want, but you can do multi companies at the same time, basically. So I can originate loans with here, I can do real estate here, I can even have my own company here. I can legally refer business to another agent or another company and get compensated for that because I am a broker. It's not considered a kickback or a fee or something that's illegal.
So it's considered kind of like in the marketing world would be
like a manager. Yeah, your broker is basically like a manager, director. Not necessarily like an associate.
Okay.
So you're just kind of you can do property management, you can do loans, you can do real estate, you can do just multiple things all at one time. So that's the difference between the broker and a real estate agent. Then you have your loan license, which allows you to originate loans. So you need to have. I hear two things. I hear you can do it without it. I hear you need your license. So I don't know. They told me I needed my broker's license. I went and got it.
Just to be on the safe side.
Yes, and it's not a bad thing to have your broker's license. It's come in handy. But yeah, so I got my broker's license in May of 2019, and then starting from there, I just kind of started doing loans in 2019. Late 2019, I started doing loans, and 2020, I started doing buyers and loans, and that's what we've been doing the last 4 or 5 years. Is just helping clients buy homes and being able to do their loans and help them with their real estate goals as well.
I'm assuming when you bought your first home, going through that experience, you didn't have any prior real estate experience, right?
Yeah, nothing.
So I think that everything you're doing now, I'm assuming probably makes it easier for your typical consumer, especially the fact having everything under one house, right?
Absolutely. And going through the process of buying your first home helped when I started doing real estate, but it's still so much that it's like, oh, do I remember? Do I not? Like, but what I learned is buying homes helped me do loans because I was like, oh, like I'm collecting all this information, I'm sending it over. Even at one point, the way I got into loans is kind of crazy because I was doing real estate from 2014 to 2019. But I was doing the loan officer's job without even knowing it. I was collecting all the information from the buyer, reviewing it and saying, oh, okay, yeah, based on this, I think you're approved for like this amount. And then I'd give the whole thing that I collected and give it to the loan officer. Basically, doing their job, collecting all the information, kind of running the numbers, and then they would just kind of do whatever they do with the loan, and then I was still the middleman, kind of like, okay, what do you need? Oh, I need this. Okay, and then I'd get it for them. So I was almost doing the loan job without doing the loan job, and then I was like, wait a minute, like I'm pretty good at this, or I know what I'm doing. Let me just go get my loan license. That's when I started in 2019, getting my doing loans.
So did you start doing it on your own just because of, I mean, I could see myself doing it just because I'm very organized and OCD about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like I could see myself just doing that. But like how did you start doing that?
Like the loan part, or just just because I don't know, I'm driven by like numbers, or numbers, and just looking at financials, and kind of like, like I don't know, I like to look at numbers and financials, and like just things like that. So I think that's kind of what triggered it. And then now I like to look at it for like flips or like investments and things like that. Just, I still love doing loans, but I think really I'm like, I like to build and flip and run numbers on, things like that. Like, how much can I buy this for? What do I need to invest into it? What's my ROI after, things like that. So, just kind of like the numbers thing, I think really kind of intrigued me.
So one thing I know for a fact, at least personally, I really don't do things for money. Like materialistic stuff really doesn't catch my attention. Like I just don't care. I grew up in pretty humble beginnings in Chicago, and it just doesn't interest me.
Mm-hmm.
But the last 3-4 years that I've had, and as a client, and I've learned so much about taxes on the real estate side.
Mm-hmm.
I've started to learn more about other aspects of real estate, flipping it,
Mm-hmm.
catching my attention.
Yeah.
I've learned that I like to create, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I've learned I really like to create, and you posted a picture, or maybe it was, you posted it. I don't remember what it was.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a salmon colored house. And
A what?
like
Salmon?
a salmon colored house.
Uh-huh.
Like a pinkish colored
Oh, yeah,
house.
yeah.
I
Uh-huh.
think it was like a white door, something like that.
Okay.
I don't remember, but I remember seeing that picture, and you posted your comment was something about, or a caption was something along the lines of like, can't wait to see what she's gonna look like.
Yeah.
And then when I saw that, and I was right, I'm like, then I started thinking like, oh, I wonder what you would do with the house, or would you do this, that. And like I remember staring at it for like 5 minutes, like, and I was like, maybe I want to get into flipping, because I could definitely see myself, and I'm sure other people that are creative, look at something and be like, okay, it doesn't look like much, but it's like, but wait a minute, well, what if we do this and this and this? Like,
Yeah.
do you think that that's something that kind of like drives you?
Absolutely.
Tell me a story.
I mean, right? Like,
Tell me on it.
well, one thing about flipping is it's cool. It's being able to transform something. I would say the real thing is buying and holding. So buying the real estate and holding it long term. That's technically the best, or the best investment that you could do. But flipping, yeah, I just see the vision. I think, I've been doing projects now since 2012, when we bought our first home. That house was actually pink too. And, we restuckled it, changed the windows, added some foam, like just did a whole exterior renovation on it. But that pink home, I just see the vision and being able to transform it. I mean, it's just exciting when you see a dump and you're like, okay, I can do this, I can do that, knock that wall down, redesign the kitchen, transform this closet, move this around, eliminate that, gut the hallway, and just reconfigure the home, because, we try to do it so that create a good layout, create a good space, and think about things that are important to buyers and consumers, right? So when we bought that house, it was a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, and the layout was okay, but it wasn't the best. So we knocked down a wall, we added a second restroom, we eliminated a hallway. The closet that was in one of the bedrooms, we moved the closet. Well, we just used a different closet that was on the exterior, and we used the current closet as the actual shower for the second bathroom that we added. So just being able to have that vision and create that, turn it into a 3-2 from a 3-1, all while using the same space and creating a functional layout.
Which increased property value and sales value.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, we did okay on that, and I think the buyers got a really great home. I mean, we overdid it on our flip. Usually you hear the other way, but we overdid it on our flip. But at the end of the day, that's just what we want to put out. We want to put out quality stuff, and we want to make sure that we don't take any shortcuts.
So, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, have you ever, like, maybe driven past that home and think, okay, maybe I didn't make as much, but I'm okay with that because there's maybe a family living there for more than a few years, and they've turned it into their actual home, right? Because there's a difference between a house and a home.
Yeah, absolutely. We think about it, even because this was just recent. It was from January to August. It took a little longer to sell. We had to make extra payments that we didn't account for. We ended up doing extra things that we didn't account for. But at the end of the day, it's like we did it. We accomplished it. We didn't lose. We still made some money. We didn't make what we thought we were gonna make. But yeah, at the end of the day, they got a really great home. Like, they should not have to touch that home for the next 50 years because it's everything was done, roof, plumbing, like everything. So that to me is more than the money, because through that flip, we were able to get a lot of content, take pictures, videos, we met a ton of clients through there, or that walkthrough, through that process. We've done a loan off that property. So it's not a short game. Everything is kind of long term, and if we didn't make that much money on that property, that's okay. There's going to be more opportunities, and as long as we're still good, and we didn't lose, or we're not going backwards, we're going forward. It, like you said, it's not all about the money. It's more about the experience. That's kind of what we took from that.
I feel like now in our modern society, with as smart as consumers are things through the internet, social media, etc., I think that is important from the business side to actually show as a business owner that you actually care.
Absolutely.
I think that's the biggest. I don't know if perk is the correct word. Maybe advantage is probably a better word. As far as being an entrepreneur, being able to solve problems.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the things I've been learning from flipping, just watching, following pages, and like your stuff is just like it's cool that you have this mission, you accomplish it, but not only do you accomplish it, like you're also helping others long term.
Absolutely.
That probably could never do that.
Yeah, I think for me that's the biggest satisfaction, and like just knowing that I've had an impact on someone's life, or help them create something, or help them buy that home that sometimes people don't think they can buy homes, and it's like, wait a minute, yeah, yes you can. Like, oh, I only have X amount. Like, that's fine, I can make that work. And people are ready to give up on buying a home, and we're like, no, we can make it work. There's always a way to make it work. And at the end of the day, it's just really being able to deliver, and being a part of that, handing them the keys and things like that, like just seeing the joy and of but like it's amazing. Just recently we just did one, and they went to different companies, and no one was able to get their loan done, and we were able to get it done. And like, just I went and I did their loan. I didn't even do sell their house. I was just a loan officer on this one. And after he bought it, I went and I visited him, and he's showing me the house, and we're in the backyard, and he's just like, thanks, man. And he gave me a hug, and like literally started crying, dude. And just like, thank you, man. Like, I don't, what you did for us is, I forgot what he said, but it was just like, I can't thank you enough. And that right there, I was like, oh, man. I called her on the way home, like, yeah, I just, he was crying, he gave me a hug, and it was just such a wonderful feeling that it's just super super fulfilling.
Were they Hispanic?
Yeah.
So why do you think, obviously without mentioning specific details, more general terms, why do you think that they struggle with other companies? Do you think that maybe in the eyes of those other companies, they were just a number as opposed to an individual?
Yes and no. I think it was they had a very complex situation, and I think just our experience was able to kind of guide them and structure their deal to benefit them.
Was it maybe like the lack of paper? Because I mean, I don't know you, but my Mexican mom and many other Mexican mom friends have all their paperwork underneath their bed mattress.
Yeah.
I never understood as a kid.
I know, right? No, there was multiple factors for them. Yeah, multiple factors. Wife and her employment, being a stay at home, X amount of time, house under their name already, kind of short on funds, kind of low credit score. Yeah, there was a lot of different factors, and we were able to help them overcome every single hurdle, and kind of structure their loan and help them close. So I think just definitely our experience was able to help them.
How much of it has to, how important is being organized in this process?
I mean, it's super important. Thankfully, Stephanie has been on board, because at times, you get overwhelmed, or you get
Like she talks about paperwork?
yeah, that too, and it's just like sorting through it, or just kind of like having them, oh, I need this, I need that. So it only makes the process easier when it's cleaner and organized, because then when it's not, obviously it's just more of a, all right, we got to put all the, something breaks, right, you got to put all the pieces together and whatnot. So it's just easier when it's already organized. But at the end of the day, that's what we're here to do. Whether it's organized or not, we'll get it done.
I think that's also something that most people don't realize, is that not owning real estate keeps us not only as nationalities but also as generations as, quote unquote poor, right? That's more of a mentality than anything, but I think that's why it's so important to educate people about real estate. And I don't know, I just kind of realized that a few months ago with another client that I have, where it's like, man, it really does do that big of an impact. And we just don't have that kind of information. That's kind of like, now that I'm saying it out loud, okay, maybe this podcast can help some Hispanics, and with my other podcast, I'm sure I'll advertise for you guys on that other one, because of the fact that it's my target market is very 100% pretty much just
Hispanics.
maxing, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just meet so many people where it's like they don't have this information, they want to learn it, but they need to learn it. For all benefits.
Yeah, and real estate isn't a one size fits all. It's your goals and their goals, and everyone's goal could be different. And that's the beauty of real estate. It's like, it's not a one size fits all. Like, it's literally custom to you. Like, what's your story? What's your background? What's your future? That's the most important thing, is what's your future. Like, I have a client, he's super young, and I was like, just tell me how many houses you want to own. I'll get you there. But it's seeking the information, right? Going out there and finding it. And, I would say just buy something, obviously for the appreciation, but the ultimate goal is just try to build a portfolio. Whether it's 1, 2, 3, you don't need a lot. You really don't. All you need is maybe 1, 2, or 3. Just buy something, right? Just get started, because if you look at history, real estate, all it does is it goes up. Whether it comes down at some point, it's going to go up. 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, with inflation, real estate's going to go up. But yeah, definitely it's not a one size fits all. And I would say there's a lot of misconceptions about when buying real estate. Like, oh, I need 20% down. There's PMI. I want my dream house first, or whatever. Well, whatever it is. But you don't have to put 20% down. Yes, you do probably pay PMI, but it's not that much. You can always refinance out of it. When your property appreciates in value, you're not going to pay the PMI for the whole 30 years of the home. Some people are like, oh, I don't want to pay the PMI. It's like $100, $200. For some people, it is more, but that's not it. Your first home or your first purchase, it's not the end all, because if you bought and you got a 6% rate, 7% rate, well, guess what? Right now you can probably get like a 5.5%, 6%. So you're already saving money from when you bought. And I actually have clients who just bought in December, January, and are saving $400, $500, $600, $900 a month.
So not
even a year.
Not even a year later.
And they're already going to save $500 to $900 a month.
Okay, so I don't know this question, so I'm not going to. How soon can you refinance?
After 6 months.
You can refinance them after 6 months?
Yep. After making 6 payments, you can refinance.
Wow.
Yeah. So, they say, marry the house, date the rate.
I've never heard that.
Marry the house, date the rate.
Interesting.
because the rates are always going to change. But the house, if you get it at a good deal or whatever it is, you know, it's always going to go up. If you didn't get it, if you got it at the peak of one market and it came down and then it went back up, what did you lose? But then, at some point, rates are going to move either down. And if they go up, well, guess what? You're locked in. But if they go down, well, now you're saving money. Yeah, you do start over, but you can, it's just to everyone's, it depends on what your end game is. What's your future? What do you want to do? What do you want to build? So it's not a one size, it's custom literally to your goals and what you want.
I definitely have to reference that Mexican saying where quiero ser la señora que vive de sus rentas. I want to be that lady that lives off
For
her
rents.
I mean, makes sense if you think about it.
Absolutely, yeah, it does. It's I know, like, I think, where my dad lives, like the lady lives in Mexico. She just collects a rent, and she's not even here. She just lives. She's in Mexico, living off whatever rent she's getting off this house. So yeah, it's definitely. I think that's one thing that Hispanics do very well is they find a way to subsidize their home and rent out the garage, convert this, convert that. And that's kind of the mentality you have to have in real estate. Obviously, you don't want to try to do it the legal way, but hey, sometimes you do what you got to do to get your income from allegedly, right? But that's why ADUs are such a big thing. Like, there's so many ways that people think, oh, like buying a house is too expensive. Oh, I don't want to pay $5,000, $6,000 a month or whatever. I don't want a 7% rate. Like, okay, so you'd rather have 100% rate because rent is 100% interest, right? You're every month. So 7% isn't that bad when you look at it that way. But you just have to find a way to, buying a home isn't like, you don't foresee that, oh, I don't want to pay that, well, then find a way to maybe buy it but not be responsible for the whole thing, right? Where you're buying it, renting out a portion of it, or you bought it and then you converted your garage into a legal ADU. Well, now you're responsible for half, which is okay, cool. And then you can save up and you can go do it again. And then in 30 years when those are paid off, that's your retirement. You don't have to work or worry about a Social Security or a pension or anything else. You literally created your own.
Which part of that is what we call in the industry house hacking.
Exactly. Yeah, house hacking. So, and there's so many different ways you can house hack too. So, it's just like I said, you just tell me how many you want and how soon you want, and I can tailor a plan to that.
What have been common fears that you've gotten from Hispanic consumers as far as why they're afraid to make that leap of buying their home?
Sometimes it's the rate.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like, oh, the rates are too high, or sometimes it's not in the area they want. Sometimes they want it in a certain area and prices are super expensive in that area, and then they have to go further out or whatnot. So they're like, oh, I'd rather not. But that can just be your starting point. It's not your end point. Everything is a stepping stone. So I think the rate, location, and sometimes the mortgage amount, the payment, it's like, ooh, that's pretty steep. And yeah, sometimes it is, but this isn't your end all. Sometimes, you can, this would be worst case scenario.
So what I'm hearing is more of a mental thing, because if you already know you're going to be, like, let's say there for 3 years or even just a year, right? And you're going to upgrade. Maybe those 12 months, which go by so fast in so many years, right?
Yeah.
I think that maybe that could be it. Or what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think just having a plan, and then just kind of what's your why and what's your plan, and just kind of sticking to that, because obviously things change, but if you make that initial it's so hard to lose a home. It's super hard, and there's a foreclosure process. There's so many different ways that you can get assistance, or you can modify. Let's say you don't make your payment for a few months, you could still find a way to save your home and not lose it, because it's such a long, tedious process for them to foreclose on you. Like, it literally takes 6 months to a couple years for you to lose your home. Like that's it. So and nowadays anybody who bought even like 2 years ago has a ton of equity. So there's, even if you're losing your home or in the position, you can easily still sell it and probably turn a profit or break even based on, certain, based on the home,
based on your capital gains?
based on the capital gains or based on the condition of the home, location, things like that. If they pulled out any additional loans or things like that. So, but typically anybody who bought within the last year or two can still sell and turn a profit or at least break even. And so there's no reason why they shouldn't be losing their homes. Sometimes it's just because of ego that they lose their homes, because like I've been doing something called REOs, which is real estate owned, and they're foreclosures. And we took one over in June. The guy bought it for 200 and something thousand, lost it. No reason why he should have lost it. He could have flipped it with his eyes closed for 500 and sold it and made some money, but he didn't. I don't know. I don't know where his thought process was. I don't know what he did, but he lost the home. And it was a beautiful 5-bedroom home in a nice area, kind of further out, but beautiful home. Could have sold it to his neighbor for 500,000. And yeah.
You might have answered, I might have not caught it. So what, can you touch more on the ego part? Like, why do you speculate that it is an ego thing?
I mean, it's the only thing I can think of on why he wouldn't decide to just sell it, or why he thought, maybe, oh, I'm gonna stick this out. It's not gonna happen to me. And at the end, we had to show up with the sheriff and evict him out of his own home, because he technically didn't own it anymore. But yeah, I think sometimes it could be either ego or just lack of information, maybe.
Which a lot of times happens because of ego.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
wanting to ask, which I've never understood. Like, I don't care if I sound stupid. I might be dumb for a few minutes, but after I learn the answer, like, guess what? Not dumb anymore.
Yeah. You're right. Maybe I should take a page out of that. But yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand how. But yeah, some.
That's gotta be so hard to, like,
Yeah.
kick someone out of your house.
Yeah, I mean, they were gone by the time we got there, but I've seen it where, they're not, and they're walking out with their things. They have 15 minutes to get out, but this time they were gone from there. They actually did a pretty good job of cleaning up. He was actually a really nice guy. Surprisingly, for the situation he was in, I was super shocked at how well he took it, because I had to meet up with them, clear out the house, get him to sign a couple documents. He left a ton of stuff. I scheduled a time to go back, meet him there, let him take some of the stuff out, and surprisingly, he was a super cool dude based on the situation he was in, but yeah, I don't understand, but yeah, it's just kind of what it is.
But I think that's the cool thing about real estate. Like, just, I think in business too, like, just because one business failed or one home didn't work out doesn't mean another one can't.
Absolutely. You just got to continue to grind and, make those moves and not give up, because one thing, like you said, one thing can fail, but you never know what the next thing can bring. You just got to keep going. So yeah, just like you, man, you're doing this whole podcast and, started with the charro, and look at you now branching out. That's awesome.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I think, like, what the hell am I doing?
Like, why? Or
I
what?
had a friend, like, really? Another one? Like, you already got one. and the business, and you're writing, you're crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like being busy.
Yeah. It keeps your head spinning.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've had that conversation before, where it's like I email you guys at like 1 in the morning, and I'm emailing you again at like 4.
Yeah. It's like, hey, this guy's up. He's working. I love it.
I'm crazy like that. So let's pivot a little bit. I am curious, and I think this might be an ongoing question I do. I'll feel it out after I edit this.
'Kay.
So what was the decision that, not for me, just in general, prior to you even speaking to me, is where, okay, I think we need to start getting into the social media game. And the reason I say that is I tried for a year and a half to get only Mexican clients, like small business owners, where it's like, man, I see so much potential in here. I see so much potential. I know we can blow this up on social media, and it'll take your business up. I know it's going to take some time, because that's how social media. Social media is very similar to real estate, where it takes time if you want to do it organically. And yeah, you can grow fast if you want to dump thousands of dollars, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's a more exciting journey when you do it organically. Maybe not dump as much initially,
Yeah.
right? Until you figure out your real path and what works for you on social media. So I'm not anti-advertising. I'm very for it. I just think that there's a time when to do it, right? And I would
Mhm.
say similar would be like, okay, you know, if you, as a real estate investor, the first property you're not going to buy isn't going to be a 12 door apartment complex.
Mhm.
You're going to probably start out with like a 2-1 or a 3-2 or whatever, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So, what made you guys decide like, okay, we need as business owners, like we need to start investing in social media?
That's a great question. I mean, it's been something that's been on our mind for a long time. And even like I have a bunch of friends that like, hey, like, why aren't you guys doing this? Why aren't you guys like posting this and that? And it's like, I did want to, or I do want to. It's just like I've just always been like a private, shy kind of person. Never really like share, like, you know, hit a milestone or hit an accomplishment, and it's like, all right, that was cool, on to the next. And it's like, even today I was talking to Stefania, and she's like, hey, like, we gotta celebrate our wins a little more. Like, we gotta like enjoy them. You can't just be like, oh, okay, cool, we did it, all right, next. And that's kind of just how I am. Like, I don't know, I have a long vision. And
I'm the same way. I feel guilty when I'm not working.
mm-hmm.
Like I have to like convince myself that I have to take half a day off.
Yeah.
Or if like I'll like on a random Friday night when I watch a movie where I'm like my brain's like fried and I just need a couple hours off. Let's say I watch like a 2-hour movie, 20 minutes, and I'm like, why am I working?
Right? Like I can't be sitting there, or I can't be not doing, I don't know.
Like I have to force myself to like chill.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. We're pretty much wired the same. Cause if I'm just like chilling, it's like, dude, I could have been doing this. Oh, I could have responded to that, or I could have, whatever it is. But to answer your question, I think it's like, all right, like, we have a ton of knowledge. We have a ton of experience. We've been helping so many people. Nobody knows. And what good does that do to other people that are out there that are looking for this information, or that are looking to build a portfolio? And, we're just gatekeeping information. So it's like, okay, we've done the work. We have the experience. We've built the portfolio. We have all the knowledge. We've accomplished so much. Let's give back, and let's help people do the same, because both of us came from pretty much nothing. And it's pretty much telling people like, hey, it's possible, no matter where you come from, or no matter where you start, or no matter what it is, whatever your situation is, it can be changed. And because it's all about your perspective and your knowledge and getting the knowledge, right? So I think, touching back on what you said earlier about Hispanics and like not having the knowledge, that was one of the things. It's like I constantly hear things about, oh, I need 20% down, or oh, I need good credit, or oh, I need this. And it's like, no, you don't. Sometimes people have the money sitting in their 401k and they think they can't buy a house. And it's like, yeah, you have your down payment right there. It's like, oh, I do? Yeah. It's just, I don't know, being able to just help people and give the content and give the value to help people build wealth through real estate. And I think that's just kind of what the mission is for us, is helping people do that.
Honestly, that was kind of like the selling point for me, because I know this might sound crazy, especially like as a first time business owner. Like there was a bunch of clients I turned down this year. Like I wasn't interested. Like I didn't see a good story to tell. That's a huge part about social media, is telling a story. And I think that the reason most people don't do it is the vulnerability. Like you have to put yourself out there, which is hard. I'm like you, more shy. I don't like attention. I don't like credit. I'm not like that. But when I started other podcasts, I realized like, oh, I actually kind of am helping people. And it got solidify a little bit more. This last time I was in Mexico, like I had people that I know, like, dude, that podcast is actually helping out here, and you're from the US. Like, wow. And I was like, that's really? Crazy. And I like it took me like a month to like come to terms with that. But that's been like a reason why I've pushed. But I think that man, it's the story, you guys, when we first talked, I was like, okay, there's a story to tell here. And I like it. And I also like the fact that I can help.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I really tried for a year to only get Mexican clients, and it didn't work. Some of them just didn't see the value, and I'm like, okay, but it doesn't mean I'm going to give up. I'm hoping that this grows more. I can go back and like, hey, look, like there's proof here. Yeah. Like I can help your business. Like there's so many small business owners I know that I'm like, man, your food's great, or you do really good landscaping. Like, why isn't this out on the internet for people to see and for them to hire you?
Yeah. Or even them as a person and their story, how they got to owning that business, and why they're so successful, why their food is good, why, whatever it is, you see that. And I think the feeling was kind of mutual when we talked to you and we met with you. It's like, oh, like, yeah, this guy, authentic, transparent, like wired the same as far as like, oh, so many ideas, like, oh, I see the vision. That's kind of like, what really was like, all right, let's make the investment, and I think we got the right guy.
Thank you, appreciable.
Yeah,
we're just starting the journey, but like I don't know, like I follow a lot of other social media managers, and I'm not gonna try to downgrade anybody, but I constantly see posts where it's just all money based, and I'm just like, I don't believe in that. Like, I think money eventually comes.
Absolutely.
And that's one thing that I learned from two of my favorite comedians, Joe Rogan and Bert Kreischer. And there's one clip that went viral with Bert Kreischer where Joe tells him, like, just be undeniable. Just be good. Just be good at your craft. Everything else will work. Yeah. And I've heard Bert Kreischer's story where he talks about where there was one day where he asked his wife for $50, and she's like, we don't have it. And he's like, no, just go get it. And she's like, we don't have $50 in the bank. You can't physically take that out. But he didn't quit on his dream, and he just kept hustling. And now, multi-millionaire. He was talking about on a podcast the other day. I was listening where he was a guest on somewhere, and he was talking about how he wanted to sell his rights as a comedian. He's like, what can I sell for, like $500,000? And his business manager's like, no. And he's like, $1 million? He's like, no, you're worth like way more than that. No, he's like, really? And it's like that's crazy. Like, right? All he wanted to do is just make people laugh.
That's crazy. Damn. Yeah, I mean, you just never know where it's going to take you. And like you're doing the podcast and, doing this marketing, like you never know where it can go. And I'm sure it's going to go to the top because, you're, like I said, you're genuine, you're authentic, and, you really do care. And you're looking at the details and the nitty gritty and how to, bring this to life. So I think that's the exciting part.
Yeah, and I wish Stephanie was here so I could apologize again for having to make you guys take so many pictures.
It's all good. No, it's part of the process, right? Like
it
can't be 4 or 5 shoots and okay, cool. It's part of the process, and that's one thing that we live by is there's no shortcuts, and the same thing in our business. And it's not about the money. It's about the process, and it's about helping people, and we know that it's gonna come. Right, because we're doing the right things for everything. We're doing the right thing, and it's gonna follow. Whether it's not this one, there's gonna be another one. And our business is built on organic referrals, and that's how we've been doing this for the last 5-6 years. Literally everything through referrals.
Everything's organic referrals.
Everything is referrals. Everything. I get calls, texts. I wouldn't say daily. Sometimes. Oh, so-and-so, so-and-so. Like client that I'm helping right now, September, she already just sent me a referral. I just started working through 3-4 weeks ago. And I already got a phone call. Hey, Andrea recommended me. I was like, sweet. So everything has just been through referrals.
I think that a lot of that has to do with when you are genuine and you actually care. Yeah. I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, because I've been the story that I told you with the guy that gave me a hug and was crying. I met him at the flip. He was with his agent, and I just had a conversation with him. Was like, hey, cool, I want to use you. Talked to him over the phone. He was already using somebody else or was trying to go through someone else, and he just felt comfortable with us. And yeah, you can definitely tell. And we always try to, like, our clients' interest is number one. Like, whatever is going to best benefit them is what we try to do. And what we always do is put their interests in. It's I forget the saying, but it's I don't know, something over profit, basically.
Well, you think about it. I'm gonna tell you about a saying that I try to live by. There's a song by Pepe Aguilar that I'm a big fan of. Pepe Aguilar. I have been since I was a kid. But there's a song that he sings called "A Pierna Suelta," which in English, I don't think there's a direct correlation. Maybe loose leg. I'm not sure. But basically, the concept in English is that you go to sleep with peace of mind, that your pursuit of happiness didn't screw anybody along the way.
That's big for me.
And like, I do not like owing anybody anything. It drives me nuts. And prior to me moving to California 10 years ago, asking someone for a favor is hard. Like, it is probably one of the hardest things for me.
Yeah.
And even the first time I started doing it here, I was living with someone that I was gonna rodeo for them, and like, I went through a situation, and the guy called me and said, hey, I heard you talking to the guys. You had this problem. Like, I can help you. I'm like, I'm not used to that. And I remember I was in front of a Panda Express in Napa, and I just started crying. And I was like, I'm not used to asking for help. I don't like doing it. It's just not me. I'm more like, I'll just figure it out kind of guy. Wow. And he told me, he's like, you need to get over that. Like, you're at a different state. You don't know as many people, or maybe you do, but it's a different relationship, right? Because just because people, you see them competing on the weekends, that doesn't mean that like you're super close. So for me to even ask for like a favor, it's like, it's hard.
But he saw something in you because he offered the help.
Yeah, I shout out to him, but it was hard, and it's not easy.
And how did that affect you after, or like, what did anything change after that for you?
Yeah, it made it a little bit easier for me to ask for help, but I'm not. It's still hard. Yeah, it's still very hard. I've come, especially this year, where it was just like literally living month to month to month, like worrying about like, fuck, am I gonna eat? Am I gonna do this and that? Actually, not about eating. I didn't really care. When I was in college, I used to party too much, and there was one month my best friend, and I survived off $76. What? A whole month. Dude. 76, and we still party like 2-3 times a week. We just, that's maybe a whole other story, but we just figured out how to do it. We figured it out. Dude. So maybe that's why I also have that mentality.
Stretch that, man.
Yeah, we stretched the $76, man. It was wild. But then again, that was a long time ago and things weren't as expensive. Dollar beer was a common thing back in the day. So yeah, it helped me in the sense of growth and to put ego to the side. I think that's when I first realized like not asking for help sometimes is also a very bad thing. It's not good for your peace of mind. Obviously it depends on the situation, right? Yeah. But I think if you have good intentions,
oh man, that's big for me. Just being able to sleep at night, like knowing that I'm doing all the right things and taking all the right steps for the most part, right, on the journey that we're trying to accomplish here. But yeah, it's just doing the right thing and being able to sleep at night. I don't know how like con artists or like people that like screw people over, like, man, I don't know how they do it. Like sometimes I guess they just really don't care, but I think I care too much because it consumes me and it like bugs me, and it's like, I know I could have did a little better for them, even though I like killed it. I won't get too much details, but I have a client that I lost, and it was my fault because I made a bad decision in hiring someone to do work. And they're a friend, and about a couple months ago I started sharing their stuff again, and they're like, he called me, he's like, why are you doing that? I'm like, I failed you. And I can't live with it, and if I can still help, I'm going to. He's like, we hired someone else. Like, I don't care. Like, I will help do work for you for free. I don't care. Like, it's driving me nuts. I really see your business to be successful, so I want to help. Like, and shout out to them and their new social media person because they're doing a good job. They're growing, and I'm just like, yes, okay. I couldn't convince them to do that, so maybe I wasn't the right fit for them. And this other person's doing a good job, and I'm happy. Like, good, good, nice. That's an amazing approach to have. Like just being able to like owning it, number one, right? And then two,
that's what he told me. He's like, that takes a lot of balls to call me and tell me this.
Yeah. Like, hey, I understand. I own it and I take responsibility and cool. That's fine. I'll find a way to make it right, and I'm gonna make it right by still posting or still doing what I'm gonna do because I still care, or I do care. I care enough to like. I still want you to be successful, even though you're not working with me anymore. So
yeah, and it wasn't even that like I fired him. It's just the contract was up, and then I just told him like I don't think we should renew. I didn't deliver what I thought I could. There was obviously some lack of your guys' understanding, and I understand it's very hard to be vulnerable and put yourself out there. So I understood that, but it was like maybe we needed that separation, and now I see that the three owners are like being more interactive and being on camera. I'm like, okay, so maybe it wasn't me. Yeah. Maybe we needed that business needed that separation because I care about them and the business. It's a really cool business. They do pretty much all plant-based, fruit-based smoothies and juices. Oh, nice. And it's 100% organic. They don't use any crap. Like all the products that they buy. Like when I went and I saw like the brands that they buy, I'm like, dang. Dude, like there's cheaper protein, and it's like, yeah, but it's not good. It's like, and they're into fitness. I'm like, it's not good though. It's like, yeah, okay, we lose a couple of dollars, but it's like, it's a better product. It's a better product, and they're very focused on their niche. And I'm like, Okay, like I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah, for sure. That takes a lot because you know nowadays, you know, everyone's just trying to either turn a profit or maximize profits, and the quality isn't
Which
there.
isn't wrong, but it shouldn't be. That shouldn't. How could I say it? It shouldn't reduce your quality
Exactly.
in any way, shape, or form, whether it's a product, a service, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in that.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. It's if they're into fitness, then you know they're probably looking at it. Well, if I wouldn't consume that, why would I sell that?
That was what he told me. He's like, I would never, buy that shit protein from Walmart. Why would I give that to people in my community?
Yeah, and I mean that's a great mindset and good business right there. So, you know, yeah, that's dope. That's dope for them that they're standing by what they would do, right? What they would consume themselves, and not taking shortcuts or trying to maximize profits for putting a lower quality protein shake or smoothie, whatever it is that they're selling.
I mean, that's what I felt with you guys, and you're like, when you guys were very adamant, where it's like, no, we want to help people. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's really cool. And I thought about it, and like, the idea of a podcast kind of crossed my mind just because it's an easy way to create content.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really like fully think about it. And then when I did think more in depth, and I told you guys, like 2-3 weeks ago, something like that, I was like, it makes sense. Like it makes sense. I like the story. It's genuine, and I hope I don't know. I hope someone listens to this and gets a house. Maybe whether it's in 6 months, a year, 3 years. Like I don't know. I hope it helps somebody.
Yeah, no, same. And whether it's through us or through somebody else, buy something. Like just this is where you're going to be able to build some type of generational wealth, or if it's not generational, at least some secure something for your future. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's just we all need a place to live, so it's not going anywhere.
Definitely.
Right.
Well, we're at like an hour 30.
Oh,
I told you it's going to go by quick.
Pretty fast.
So Stefania's busy, but I'll do another one. It's not a big deal. We can do multiple ones. And I think that the more I also get comfortable, just because I've done 70-some episodes in one field does not mean that I know how to do in this one. Like I realize how I'm like, shit, I need to start watching more about like entrepreneurs and getting more, more practice at it.
Yeah, I think you're great. And this was fun. Glad we were able to jump on.
It's not easy. It's just the first couple minutes. It's like, oh.
Yeah, no, but even then, I mean, it's just, like you said, it's just a conversation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
we'll do another one again with Stefania, because I don't want to keep you, and plus it's getting late. You guys need to eat and stuff. Yeah. So, all right. So to conclude, where can they find you on social media? You probably want to give the new one out.
Yeah, right. The Bollins is our social media. It's coming. It's in the works. And we're going to be pumping out some exciting stuff, value on real estate, on mortgage, anything real estate, really, whether you own a home already and you're looking to build an ADU, construction, flipping, buying, building a portfolio, buying your dream house, whatever it is, and anything real estate and mortgage, we're here to take care of you.
Awesome. And what areas do you guys service legally so that people know?
I mean, pretty much all of California, but for the most part, we're in Orange County, LA County, Riverside, San Bernardino, San Diego. So pretty much Southern California. Okay. But yeah, we have people everywhere that we can help.
Okay. Is there a specific email where you would want people to email you aside from Instagram? Because then I got to pass a message on, so it might be better.
I mean, email is paul@tbtrealtyca.com. You can email there. Or Stefania@tbtrealtyca.com.
Yeah, I'm going to put it on the screen and in the description. Sweet. So,
all right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
exciting.
Paul, thank you. It was awesome finally meeting you guys. Likewise. We're talking, and thanks again for putting up with the photo shoot. Dude, I was so impressed with that. Like the whole time you were doing all these react shots so we could do YouTube thumbnails, I was like, there's no way in hell I would do that.
You'd be surprised, man. You'd be surprised. I don't know. I got to share whatever I was drinking over there.
Yeah, you got to tell me what that bottle was, man.
Nah, actually, yeah. It just, like I said, just learn to be uncomfortable and embrace it.
Definitely.
That's the only way growth comes. So I'm excited for this growth.
Same. Very excited.
It'll be awesome, man.
I'm excited to tell this story, man.
I'm excited to share it. I've been wanting to share this for a long time.
I can't wait to post that banana one, that banana picture.
Yeah. That's gonna be funny, man. We got a ton more of those.
I can't wait.
Yeah, we've got more stuff. So
I love memes, and I actually used to have a meme page that I got it to 176,000 followers. That's actually how I met Anna.
oh, no way.
Yeah, someone
What?
sent her my memes, and then I guess I don't fully remember the story, but it was through a referral of someone who found me on my meme page. Like, this guy's funny and he knows how to do this stuff.
And then boom.
And then, well, I mean, the marketing and the graphic design and all the editing, all that stuff. Like, I've been doing it for a while now, so it just kind of all like led to
There you
something.
go. Look at you now. Look at you now. And this is just the beginning for you as well.
Yeah, it's very exciting. So,
All right.
thank
sounds
you
good.
again. Thank you for giving me the honor, the privilege, and the opportunity to have you first guest on this new podcast.
Oh, sweet. New one, huh?
New one.
Somos Entrepreneurs or?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna run with that. I gotta think about it more. I gotta do the research on all the social media and stuff and all that stuff. But yeah,
I like it because it's like, it pretty much translates to like, we are entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Somos.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the meaning behind Somos.
yes, exactly. Yeah, we are. So that's kind of the concept. I realized at one point that, I mean, I don't know about you, but I could never go back to work for anybody else. No way in hell. Maybe part time, and even that I don't think I could.
Yeah.
And I've been telling some of my friends, I'm like, I look at it now like slavery. Like I don't ever want to experience that ever again.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm the same way. I wouldn't knock it, but if it obviously.
Well, I mean, for me personally.
Yeah. I mean, same thing for me.
Yeah.
But I'm just, for others out there that are, still working the 9 to 5 or whatever the gig is, it's just different when you're an entrepreneur. Like,
It's not easy.
It's not easy. One, but I think the biggest perk perk is just, hey, I'm not gonna go in today, or hey, I need to request these days off. It's like, well, no, you just decide.
It's funny you mention that, because someone told me that a couple years ago, and it's never left my mind. Where like, oh, I'm going to take vacation, and I remember having those conversations like with them, and I was still a 9 to 5 employee. I'm like, no, we don't get to go on vacation. We have to ask for permission to go.
Yeah.
And like, there's that meme where it's like the lady's like on the plane, and she's like emailing her boss, like, me on the plane heading to Vegas, and I haven't even asked for permission.
Dang. Yeah, I think I can kind of agree with you on that. Like, yeah, it's kind of tough to just being able to ask when you've already experienced so much freedom, for so long. Definitely gets harder to go back to a 9 to 5, or even just any type of corporate job where you have to ask permission for whatever it is, right? Like, your schedule or time off or days off, or leaving early or starting late. Like, yeah, it's definitely challenging. Definitely don't want to go back.
Yeah, definitely not. So yeah, that's kind of my intention, is to kind of like educate people about entrepreneurship, me to learn as I begin this path, and I definitely don't want to get away from it ever again. So it's like, I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun in talking to people like you that have grown and now have found a beautiful home, and just like, quote unquote, the American dream.
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy.
So,
But thank you.
no,
Appreciate
thank you
it.
again, Paul. So, yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one.
Alrighty. Bye.